So part of the vision for Micah's house, although it's not been actualized yet, is one of the things that I've always said is I feel like it costs 1,000 shillings for a child and their parent to stay, to have their meals, to be taken back and forth to the hospital. I feel like that should be fundraised in Kenya.
Did the Micah house exist when you came back, or did you now include that? It didn't. Oh my God.
So there was the hospital that was opening. And then, so the vision was for it to be similar to what Kimberley-O was. Mm-hmm. And then in 2020, during the middle of COVID, when kids still needed to get their cancer treatment, but everything was so hard, I said, I don't want empty beds at the hospital. I want us to create space for these kids who've traveled far to be able to stay. So that's when it started. And then I had a dream. And in the dream, in the entrance was Micah 6:8. It was do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly. And I knew it was called Micah's house. I knew that there was a place for these families to come. And so in 2022, we built it.
And how are you getting the funding to do these dreams or these visions that you're getting?
So for most of our infrastructure and construction, some has been donated by churches, some has been individuals, some have been foundations. So we're really intentional about what we're trying to create, the way we communicate it, what we're asking for. And so we tell the story of children who are getting chemotherapy and sleeping with multiple kids in the bed at the hospital or on the floor, knowing that we can do something different, and we're able to fund it and build it. We built it in about 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is a bit of a tough one for me to ask, but I have to ask it. What's the role? Is there a possibility for the funding to come from the country? Is this funding, is any percentage of this funding coming from Kenya, for Kenyans?
So part of the vision for Micah's house, although it's not been actualized yet, is one of the things that I've always said is I feel like it costs 1,000 shillings for a child and their parent to stay, to have their meals, to be taken back and forth to the hospital. I feel like that should be fundraised in Kenya, but haven't had the channels yet to do that, or haven't been able to do that yet. As much as we share, just haven't figured out how that could look. I think yes. Ideally, I think most of our funding could come from Kenya.
It costs 1,000 shillings for a child and a mom to stay, and that includes food and transportation. A day. 1,000 shillings. And how many rooms are there?
20.
20, so 20 beds.
40 beds.
40 beds, because 40 beds. Wow.
Yeah, but for 20,000 shillings a day, we can run the guest house service.
At Micah's house?
Yeah. So the upstairs is inpatient for pediatrics, so that's for kids that are acutely ill. The ground floor is an accommodation.
Oh, I get it.
So it's our partnership with Moi Teaching Referral Hospital to be able to say we will create space for your patients. So they're not our patients, but we will create space for these kids and families. We will be bringing them back and forth. We will feed them. We will create activities. We will create, the psychosocial support. But we want there to be a place for them to stay.
Okay. I didn't even, yesterday when I went, I didn't understand this bit that way. The downstairs rooms that we went to said that had the beds. What you do, you're looking at more referral hospitals, is that what you said?
Yeah, so we're filling in the gap of they don't have enough space. They don't actually need to be inpatient in the hospital, but they live geographically so far that they don't have a place to stay. And most can't afford to go to a hotel or to...
So you will bus them or bring them, you will transport them for Moi
We
referral
do.
all the way to the living room?
Yeah.
You will give them a meal?
All their meals. We will have art therapy, we'll have singing and dance, we'll have tutors to help with reading, we'll have psychosocial support for the parents. We will look at if there's symptoms that need to be managed, we can consult with the hospital. So it's like, how can we fill in this gap? So it's creating Micah's house in Kenya.
Oh my God, Julie, I get it now.
Yeah.
And it's 20,000 a day for every room to be filled. That's all. And it's 1,000 shillings
per child and adult.
Per child and the adult. Okay.
So we keep our costs as low and controlled, like with giving quality, but wanting it to be an affordable, I mean, these families, most who are traveling to us, they're staying for weeks. So it's not like, it might cost 50,000 shillings to take care of a family for the 50 days that they're with us. So that would be expensive for them. But like from a organizational perspective of like, that child is they are worth this 1,000 shillings that we will invest in their stay and their family.
So, okay, let me do one call to action. What if somebody is watching this and at this moment of time, after understanding, the same way I've gotten a revelation, what if we want to give? How do we contact?
So you can put on the screen our M-PESA number that they could send a donation to.
Okay.
They can definitely
you have a direct M-PESA number that this can be sent to.
Yeah.
And that's the one which is on the screen right now.
Yes. I don't know what it is, but you can have it on the screen. I mean, there's people, like, depending on where you're at and how you want to give, like at our living room website, then there's also donation pages. But within Kenya, M-PESA is probably the easiest.
And the name that appears is the living room.
The website?
You know what? Let me just show you. There's M-PESA right now. And try it myself. Oh, you didn't cut?
Sorry.
So I've decided not just to talk hot air and to put fake numbers on the screen. So the paybill number, for those who are in Kenya, let's start with the paybill number. 69. So go to paybill on M-PESA, 696694. Or for those of you who like it in 2 digits, 696694. And then for account, I'll just say Micah's house.
We say Micah's in Kenya.
Micah's. Micah's house. Let's see, Micah's house. And let's just see if I did. So if I pay 1,000 right now, you're telling me if somebody, it's told me the business name is Living Room International. Continue. Pay bill, I put my PIN. And I get a message from Living Room International. So what you're saying right now is that 1,000 has ensured that
you've just cared for a child and their parent for a day.
For a day.
You've welcomed them. And
so the details are going to be on this video and on all other videos coming. Anything from 1,000, just send. And you know what? Just send whatever it is that you want to send. Sometimes we limit people, but no. Your 1 shilling will go a long way.
Yeah.
And I love what this stands for. It stands for Micah's house. In fact, I love it. I love it.
The need for the guest house was evident to our team, to myself, before our family traveled 10,000 miles to Los Angeles for our boys to receive their bone marrow transplants, and before a family so generously welcomed us.
The people who come to stay in the guest house are the mothers who are traveling many miles. Chemotherapy in Eldoret majority is outpatient program.
It was something that I thought at some point, like we need to offer this to families, that children could come from far distances who are undergoing cancer treatment at a nearby government hospital, but they need a place to stay. And currently they were sleeping on the floor of the government hospital in the corridors at night and then getting their chemotherapy in the day. And I just, as a mom who had slept beside my kids while they were receiving their chemotherapy, I just couldn't imagine that being okay.
Without the guest house, I don't know if most of them would have even completed the treatment, because the journey is long, the frustrations are many, the financial constraints, and having a place to sleep, a warm space to sleep, to have their children away from the needles, from the hospital environment, away from the doctors, it makes even healing possible.
Micah's guest house is located on our living room Eldoret campus. It's about a 5-minute drive from the government hospital where these children are receiving their oncology services, their chemotherapy, their radiation therapy. The guest house has 64 beds in it, and so we're able to take care of a child plus a parent, or sometimes it's a sibling that accompanies the child, and they've traveled from all over the country, many hours, and they need a place to stay. Almost every family that we serve in the guest house, they come from a low-income background, and we didn't want cost to be the prohibiting factor. We're offering the accommodation and the care that we provide to these families for free. It costs about $10 a day for the child and parent to stay with us, for us to be able to feed and care for them. And we just feel like that's something we want to be able to offer them, and for it not to be another burden for them to have to think about.
They ask a lot of questions. Why? Why me? Because majority of them, they think they don't deserve it. And we always say all these have been done because somebody loves you and he cares for you. And when they hear that, for the first 3 or 4 days, they are watching. If really, is this us? Even when they are given a room, a mother and a child, that they are not sharing with anybody else, they are sharing as a family, and they receive a meal, they receive warm water to shower. You can hear the mother knowing that somebody is thinking about them and is laughing about them. Now we are giving children who are traveling from many miles to get an opportunity to be there, to be served very early in the morning.
We don't control whether these kids will survive, will be cured of their cancer, but we can make this season of treatment one where the families know that they aren't alone, know that they are seen and loved, and that's the opportunity that we feel like we have.
Thank you
It
so
stands
much.
for hospitality,
Hospitality.
and making room and giving a chance for healing to come, and for a family to not feel alone on a hard journey.
Imagine if you had to think about rent in the mix of hospital bills, in the mix of...
Or when that's not even an option. You know, it's not an option, but you're still going to do whatever it costs. We kind of had a best case scenario. Like, it was so hard, and yet, like, my kids had a bed.
Yeah.
You know, so like wanting that for others is actually what we're doing.
Wow. One thing that I love about you, Julie, you always, this whole story, the one thing that has been a running thread in your story, every time you experience something as difficult as it is, the question that you always ask yourself is, what about the others? What about the others who don't have the privilege that I had, or who don't have the opportunities that I had? What are we going to do for them?
Yeah.
So you're
wanting for them what was somehow graciously extended to me, you know, or to us.
Oh my God. That is the height of saying thank you. I mean, I'm not saying that's why God makes this thing happen. He doesn't make them, but I'm sure that's why he allows them.
I mean, I think that's where like redemption comes in, you know, little by little. As like, I was really like hesitant to, I don't need there to be meaning for what we experienced. I don't need like, you know, like sometimes like it's like there's a silver lining. And I was like, I don't know that that's true. What I feel is like we experienced really hard things, and we experienced God's love and community within it. And like, I want that for others.
Wow. Wow. This wasn't part of the vision. Micah's house wasn't part of the vision of the space. It came as a result of something, a trial that you and your family went through.
So we had talked like about it as an idea.
Juju.
Yeah, exactly. But like we came back, and it is the thing in all of the work that we do. Like it's the thing that I feel like I feel so deeply grateful and proud that we get to do it. Not that the others I don't. It's
Yes.
just this is the thing where it's like I want this. I really, really want this for these families.
Okay, let's talk about then the living room hospital. Now, thank God that we sort of filmed some content so people are seeing what it is.
Yeah.
But I still want you to share what then becomes the vision for this, especially in terms of what then did you want the government to know is possible. Okay, Julie, where are we, and walk us through.
So this is called Micah's house. And it's called that for multiple reasons. But one, which I'm sure I'll share more about, is when my kids were receiving treatment in Los Angeles, there was a family who welcomed us in for 477 days to
What?
live with their family while we were doing the treatment. So their son was named Micah. And so we called him Mama and Baba Micah. Our kids did. And we feel like this space is for other families to be welcomed and to give them a chance for their kids to also receive healing, but also to be accompanied while they're going through treatment. So in Micah 6:8, it says, "What is good and what is required, but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly." And I feel like more and more as we lean into what living room is becoming and is, that these are the things that we aim towards. And we feel like if we do this, if we continue to fight injustice, if we continue to love with compassion and have it look like excellence and kindness and care, and then do it all in humility, that God will be honored, and that the fruit of that will be, that we'll be able to really continue to serve the people of Kenya well.
I love it. I love it. And we're definitely going to hear more of that story. Just what do people say when they hear the name Living Room Hospital? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not your...
So the name Living Room came from one of the worship pastors at my home church in Los Angeles from years ago, when I told him I just have this dream, this like vision that continues to like sit within me of this home where people can come. Some will come to die, some will come to get better, but like, would you pray with me? Because I don't know what it's supposed to look like. And so like a month or two later, he wrote back and he said, I can't get this idea out of my head. And every time I pray about it, I call it the living room. And it just feels like it's all about honoring life. It's all about making space and making room for people to come and feel welcome and feel their value in whatever condition they might be in.
I love it.
Yeah. So this space it's 40 beds on the ground floor. So it's for kids and their families who travel from all over the country.
Wow.
They're getting their oncology treatment at Moy Teaching Referral Hospital, which is like a 5-minute drive from here. So we take them back and forth every day for their radiation therapy or their chemotherapy, but it allows them to have a place to stay, good nutrition, psychosocial support, spiritual care, just trying to create an environment that can allow these families to get through the treatment.
Wow.
And previously, because the number of patients at the hospital and at MTRH, these families would have either slept on the floor of the casualty, get chemo, and then they didn't have a place to stay, so they'd either stay there or have multiple kids in a bed. So just to be able to create a space that's safe and that's warm and welcoming, and that partners with the hospital so that they can actually provide the care that is also needed and the treatment that's needed. I feel like, where can we help fill in gaps? What does that look like to do that well?
I love that. It's already so hard on the parent. The parent is willing to do anything for their child. So I love the fact that you're bringing some form of relief.
And that, I know that from experience too. I know how hard it is for your child to have such a serious illness, to go through chemotherapy, to have questions about, are they going to make it through another week? I prayed those prayers. I sat in those spaces, and in best case scenarios, I know how hard that is. And so to create a place for other moms and for other families is something that I feel really, really grateful for and honored that we get to do.
Okay. And also I love how the space looks color.
Why not? So each of our rooms in Micah's house look like this. So there's 20 rooms on the ground floor that have this.
I love the art all over the wall.
I love that we have partners to do it with.
So you said there are how many spaces?
There are 40 beds on the ground floor.
Okay.
Let me show you a few other things here. So I don't know if this is going to be unlocked, but we have a library here. It might be locked. I've got a key. Do you have a key? Yeah. No problem. You don't want to open it?
Give me away from the camera.
Accommodating the kids, we look at how can we help them with their learning, with just reading, with art, music, different activities to support them while they're here.
Do they have a Jacob here?
They don't have Jacob, but we do have teachers and tutors who work with them.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. We have coloring that's
Wow. I love what you've done. To accommodate the kids. And let me ask, a lot of the kids here, is it a majority cancer?
it's all.
It's all, huh? You offer counseling for the parents?
Yeah.
You do, huh?
Yeah. I feel like there's a strong support network for the families here.
And how long do the kids stay here?
It depends on their treatment. Most, it's about 6 weeks.
Okay. And then-
Others, so then some will get like a chemotherapy cycle, to go home, come back. So it's like intermittent.
Yes. So during the cycle, they're here. Okay.
And radiation therapies, like, so they'll come for a certain number of days.
So do you also have kids here who are in the final stages? Wow. That must be hard.
Yeah. I mean, a majority of cancer patients in Kenya are still getting their diagnosis when it's really far advanced.
You do, huh? Imagine.